The watch that I've got in front of me here is called the Batavi Atelier, and the dial is what actually captured my attention and sparked my curiosity. And after having this thing for a week, it sort of hasn't disappointed. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Let's check this thing out. Now this is the second watch that I've featured on the channel from Batavi. It's basically a micro brand based in the Netherlands. And the first watch was called the Geograph. A very interesting design. It was a world timer. And again, with this watch here, they've designed a very interesting watch. At first impressions, it's very Ming on its thought process and its layout, but without the high price tag. Now Batavi has sponsored this video, and I'll leave all the appropriate links in the description section so you can check these guys out. And on first impression, that dial is very deep, it's very mesmerizing, it's kind of hypnotic for a better word. But two things I would have loved to see changed as I'm approaching this review. Because this watch is a prototype. It's a pre-production version, and it's a damn shame because it's not the finalized product. And in saying that, I cannot accurately tell you how good the production version will be. Because this prototype needs a few small tweaks to satisfy that area. Second thing that I would have loved to have here instead of this is the blue version. If you look at their website, there's 3 different colorways that they've made of this watch. This particular one, although it's very unusual, a very sort of grape purple sort of color, I would have loved to get my hands on that blue one. I think it would have been a better fit, maybe capture the light slightly better, and a more interesting effect. But even in saying that, the dial itself has not let the watch down. It's actually very deep. And when I say deep, when you look at this watch, you get the impression that it's actually a concave dish that's going down into the pinion. So it is hypnotic, it is very mesmerizing, and that illusion of the considerable depth in this dial is this watch's strong point. It's basically the hero of this watch. Now, according to Batavi's website, the dial is actually based on a 3D fish scale pattern. However, for my eyes, I clearly see an acorn design here. But whatever the case, the effect is quite striking and very effective. Now first and foremost, let's get onto the dimensions of the watch, and then I'll tell you some of the things I really would love to have seen changed in the production versions. And the watch comes in at 39mm with a beautiful 10.2mm height, and that small lug-to-lug of 45.6 has made this extremely wearable. Now the crown is also another hero. It's a 6.8mm screw-down crown. It's signed. The watch offers 100 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on this bracelet, sized to my 18cm wrist, comes in at exactly 130 grams. So wearability wise, I don't have an issue with this watch. The footprint 39, in fact, it looks more like a 40 because that bezel, that fixed bezel, is very thin, and you've pretty much got the majority of the case taken up by that dial. Now that height at 10.2 has been supreme. As you can see, it is sitting beautifully. It'll slide under any cuff. Really a sweet spot of this watch. And again, surprisingly, the comfort on this bracelet has also been very, very good, considering the fact that there's no on-the-fly micro adjustability. And looking closer at that bracelet, you've got female end links that drop straight down, which is great. They're quick release. You've got push pins and a milled swivel. However, as I mentioned, there's no on-the-fly, but there's more than sufficient enough holes to be able to get a nice sweet spot. And that clasp has also been a little bit niggly to actually close. So again, this is a prototype. There's scratches all over the place. It's been handed from reviewer to reviewer. So I think the finalized product is what I would have loved to see in my hand, because then I can tell you exactly if there are any issues with that watch. But hopefully Batavi will hear this review and actually address any of these issues that I'm bringing forward. Now looking closely at that dial, it is really superb. The handset and those Arabics are all lume filled, and looking closer at those Arabics, they're actually printed on the underside of that crystal. And for me, it's one of my gripes, not because I don't like it, but because, again, I'm appealing back to the fact that this is a prototype, and the quality or the sharpness or the crispness of those Arabics, I just don't see it in this pre-production version. And to be quite honest, I really would have loved to see those Arabics applied on the actual dial. Maybe a Mark II version of this watch. But are they effective? Yes. Is legibility been easy? Yes. It's been a quick, easy glance at the wrist and you can tell the time without a second look. And you probably notice that there's no seconds hand. So the only real way to know that this watch is working, in the middle of that pinion, there's an actual cap. And if you look carefully, it's actually spinning around to indicate movement. No different from my Meistersinger. I've got a Meistersinger, and as you can see, there's no seconds hand. You don't know whether it's running. The only thing you can tell, if the time is accurate when you wake up in the morning, you know that it's running. Simple as that. So very similar in that regard. Now, I did say that the handset and those Arabics are lume filled, and looking closely at the lume, it's there, but that's all it is. It's just there. It's not a lume monster. On the crystal, it quickly disappears. The handset lasts probably about 10 minutes, so don't expect a flashlight here. It's not what it's designed for. Now, if I turn the watch over, you'll notice there's a closed caseback. And behind that caseback, we've got a Miyota No Date 9039. About 44 hours of power reserve, a nice strong movement, and I think it's a good call for this particular watch because it keeps that watch profile nice and thin. I think they've kept a 10.2mm case height, just aiding that wearability. I think that's a smart choice. And looking closely at the side of this case, you'll notice a recessed bead blasted section on each side. It's basically to aid in the case design. Does it work? Well, I think it's all subjective. It is definitely different, that's for sure. Now, the crystal on this watch is a flat sapphire, and I can't see in the specs anywhere regarding anti-reflective coating, so I don't know what process they've done on this, but in certain lighting situations it has blown out a little bit. Potentially another thing for the production version, maybe add some more AR, just to aid in legibility. And lastly, the price. The watch comes in at €470. I'll leave the links in the description so you guys can check that out. It's a very interesting watch. I appreciate what Batavi has done here. It's following the similar lines to Ming without a high price tag. There are a few little tweaks I would have loved to see on this pre-production version, and that's the problem. It is a pre-production version, so I can't tell you what the finalized version will be like. Just a few little tweaks, just maybe cleaning up those Arabics, which the naked eye won't pick up, but under macro photography you can. That would be nice. The crown has been absolutely superb. It's 6.8mm, but it's very thin, very easy to grab and utilize. And because it's also screw down, with that 100 meters of water resistance, it also offers some security and reassurance. For me, I do liken it to my Meistersinger, as I said before. Very similar concept. Even though this is a single-hander, this is a two-hander. There's no seconds hand. You just look down and read the time. This one gives you a bit more accuracy with those minute markers. This one, none at all. But it's more of a generalistic watch, laid back. It's roughly 25 minutes past 10. Enjoy the day, enjoy the afternoon, and from what I can tell, it's meant to be taken as a stress-free watch. Enjoy the dial, enjoy the look, read the time at any glance, so that's pretty cool. And maybe if they offered a display case back, that potentially could have got you to the state where you can see the actual movement moving, so when you get up in the morning and you can check out this watch, you can see that it's functioning. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. A very interesting watch from Batavi. I think sizing, it's great. Wearability, it's great. The idea is good because it's a stress-free, look down at your wrist and you've got a gauge of the time. And it's a very pretty dial at that. For me, looking at their website, my pick is that blue. I think it's got a nice killer look, fun, plus potentially that colorway will pick up certain things, shades and tones in different lighting scenarios to create different moods. Hit me up in the comments, guys. Let me know what you think of this particular design, this watch. It's been easy to wear and very comfortable. Thanks again for watching. Be well, be safe, and we'll see you all in the next video.